Okay, we're going to keep moving with the program. And as I said, there is still time after Tom Browning speaks to do the silent auction and put raffle tickets in the baskets. And then before I bring Guy up here to do the induction of the Hall of Fame members, I'll announce the 3, 2, and 1 minute countdown to the silent auction. It's an honor for me to get to introduce Tom Browning tonight. This is kind of a pinch me moment as a huge Reds fan. Ever since I was born, my dad was in a season ticket club. I was blessed to be able to go to the NLCS in 1990 as well as games 1 and 2 of the World Series in 1990. And as you know, Tom Browning played a pivotal role in those events, winning Game 2 of the NLCS and then winning Game 3 of the World Series in Oakland just mere hours after becoming a new dad, and one of the highlight reel moments of the 90 World Series where he's got Marty Brennaman, he's got Tim Carver saying, "Tom, if you can hear me, get back to the ballpark for Game 2. We may need you tonight." But Joe Oliver and Billy Bates took care of that. The one Billy Bates moment never to be heard of again. But, you know, Tom Browning is Mr. Perfect. 1988, perfect game, Los Angeles Dodgers. And I believe to this date is still the only perfect game pitched against the winner of the World Series in that same year, as the Dodgers that year would go on to win the World Series after being the victim of Tom's perfect game. And, you know, that's a Vin Scully iconic call in that World Series with Kirk Gibson. And correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, but I believe one of your strikeouts in your perfect game led to a Kirk Gibson ejection, if I'm not mistaken, in that perfect game. So he didn't stick around in that perfect game moment. So Tom still lives locally. Tom is very active with the Cincinnati Reds Youth Academy and gives back to the next generation of pitchers. He still works for the Reds. He's been a coach for the Reds, as I said, for the development of pitching. So if you've never had the chance to hear him speak, you're in for a treat. So it's my pleasure to introduce, and please give a Williamsburg Wildcat welcome to Mr. Perfect, number 32, Tom Browning.
Hello, Williamsburg. Do they still have that pizza place that used to be like a firehouse or something? Yeah, is that still around? Well, my bar's gone too, hell. I lost my bar. No, I ain't bringing mine back. Ain't no way. Well, it's good to be here. I got some really dear friends from here. The Abram family, Abe and Jesse. But their son Brian and I are pretty tight. He's out in Arizona now, so every time I went out there to coach or do whatever, I used to stay with his family. So they were very kind to me. So I have a special place in my heart for Williamsburg. So I was fortunate enough to play Major League Baseball. I was as a kid growing up in Wyoming and then upstate New York, I was a big Reds fan. I became a Reds fan only because I bowled on Saturday mornings in Casper, Wyoming, which was 2 hours time-wise behind Eastern Standard Time. So game of the week came on at 1 o'clock every day, every Saturday, and I bowled every Saturday at 11 o'clock. So I got to watch Major League Baseball in the down the stretch, you know, the September and the Fall Classic, whatever. And the Reds seem to be in, and this is in the 70s, early 70s, which they dominated. So that's how I became a Reds fan. When I was I think 11 years old, Johnny Bench came out and spoke at our banquet in Casper, and we gave him a big old cowboy hat. And when I say big, because Johnny Bench has got a big head, so we gave him a cowboy hat, and I still have the black and white photo that he autographed for us. And then Pete came out a couple years later. It was Johnny, then Reggie Jackson came, and he was okay, but I didn't really care for him. And then Pete came out when I was 13, so I got to see a couple of the big Red Machine guys early on. And then when I moved to upstate New York and I was old enough to travel up to Montreal, Canada, which was about an hour and a half from where I went to high school, I went and saw my first Major League game. I saw the Reds play against the Montreal Expos. It was Tom Seaver against Steve Rogers. I can tell you when I walked into the stadium and when I walked to see the field for the first time, and it was all AstroTurf, it looked like heaven to me. I just couldn't believe it. You know, I remember Joe Morgan hit a ball. I said, "Oh, that's gone," and I think the second baseman caught it. But I was just so enthralled by the majesticness of the stadium, you know, and the fact that we paid, I think, like $10 for tickets, and we were in the upper deck, and by the end of the game went 14 innings. Pete Rose scored on a sac fly by Joe Morgan in the 14th inning, and Pete had hit in game number 37. So by the end of the game, we had worked our way down to the dugout, and in the dugout, you walk towards home plate, and then you take a right to go underneath to go to the clubhouse, and and that's where the stands ends. And that's where I was at the end of that game with my buddy, and Pete Rose was still in the dugout drinking an Orange Crush. And we said, "Hey, nice game, Mr. Rose." And he looked at us, "Hey, thanks, fellas, you know, whatever." And then, let me guess, 78, that would be, 7 years later, I got to put my arm around Pete Rose in the dugout and say, "Hey, Bronco," well, that's what we called him, Bronco. I said, "Hey, Bronco," I said, 7 years ago, I was standing right there after you hit in game number 37. You know, I gave him all the spiel, so I was probably sucking up to him because I was a rookie then. So, but it was kind of cool to kind of see it from the other side. I can't say that I spent 12 years in this organization, and well, actually 14, including the minor leagues. But it was everything I thought it was, you know, and I had some really cool people. I mean, I played with Pete Rose, I played with Tony Perez, I played with Davey Concepcion, I played with Ken Griffey, and guys like that, and Buddy Bell. I mean, guys that came before me that kind of taught me the game. Back then, as a rookie, you didn't say anything. You did not say a thing, you know, unless someone asked you. You know, those guys, you know, put you in your place all the time. I remember when I got called up in '84, Mario Soto's wife went into labor, so he had to go home. So they gave me his start, you know. And usually as a September call-up, you're just hoping at getting a chance to pitch, you know. But they gave me a start in L.A. against the Dodgers, which was cool as hell. I had a really good game. I actually took a shutout into the 9th inning, but I didn't make it through the game. But I got the win. And after the game, you know, I was pretty tickled that I had, you know, that kind of game. I didn't expect it, but anyway, after the game, it was getaway day, and we're getting ready to get on the bus, and I'm getting ready to get out of my locker and go get on the bus, and a reporter comes up to me and said, "Hey, Mr. Browning, would you mind, you know?" And then Tony Perez's locker was right next to mine, and he said, "Hey, Rook, we're not waiting on your ass. Get your ass on the bus." And as good a broken English as you could possibly do with Tony Perez. You know, but he said, "Hey, Rook, get on the bus. We're not waiting for you." But I had some wonderful moments. I got to do a lot of things. I got to pitch the night Pete Rose broke the record. He obviously, you know, he took me out in the 9th inning with a 4-hit shutout. I'll tell you that. I'll see how that goes. So I said I sat for 45 minutes while they brought you a car in the middle of the game. You know, but he came to the mound. I gave up a base hit. We were winning 2-0, and I gave up a base hit. I got one out, and I gave up a base hit, and he comes to the mound, and he says, you know, all the things that he always said. "How you doing?" I said, "I'm doing fine." He said, "Well, I got to win this game." I said, "Well, you don't think I'm trying?" He said, "Yeah, just give me the ball." So I gave him the ball, and I walked off. So, but to be honest, to say you played with Pete Rose, I don't even know if you can really describe what that's like. I mean, this guy was, he was an icon. He was an icon here, you know, and he used to get up there and hit and come back and he'd check his bat if he made an out and see where he made contact. But just to listen to him talk, rain delays were awesome for us because Davey and Tony, You know, they'd all get in this pile and they'd start telling stories. You know, and it was the coolest thing to listen to their stories, you know, back in the Big Red Machine days. I mean, you guys are fortunate that you got to see them every day, or you got to listen to them every day, you know. So, I mean, I didn't grow up in an atmosphere where it was Major League Baseball on the radio or TV very often. The Denver Bears were kind of the team, and then when I got to New York, I mean, it was the Yankees and the Mets, and then we got some Montreal, Canada games if you had a good enough satellite or a good enough rabbit ears to pull it in. So, but this is where I wanted to be. This is who I wanted to play for. I told my mom when I was a kid, growing up, I was going to play Major League Baseball. I was going to play for the Reds, and it just happened. You know, I remember I was playing college ball, and a Red Scout came and asked me to come to what they call a pre-draft tryout camp. You know, I was a 22-year-old kid. I had a mustache, hair, long hair. I mean, I was as far from a Cincinnati Red back then as you can get. But when they invited me to that tryout camp, I had cut everything off. I was clean shaven, ready to go. So I loved it. I loved the way things were here. I loved the way, you know, we had opening day was our opening day. We always got to open up every year. You know, the parade. Although I will say, as a player, you have no idea what this town is like on opening day, because you're just kind of locked into going to the stadium and going into the clubhouse, whatever, and you're not really seeing a whole lot in Cincinnati. But when I retired and I got to opening days, wow. I mean, this is a special, special place for opening day. So I was very fortunate. Like I said, I played in the World Series. I went to one All-Star game. I hit a home run, hit two actually. As a pitcher, you know, those are one of your prouder moments. So, because I gave up plenty, but I got to experience a lot of things, you know, and I was very fortunate. And I wanted to pitch forever. You know, I just, when I got hurt, I just kept getting hurt. You know, I didn't get hurt the first 7 or 8 years of my career, and then all of a sudden I got hurt in the next 3 years. And then when I broke my arm, that was kind of the end of it for me. So. But then I went into coaching with the Reds. Tell you what, I enjoyed that as much as I did playing. You know, watching these guys try to climb that ladder, trying to chase their dreams, trying to get up there and do some wonderful things. I was in rookie ball. I was in actually lower level, mostly rookie ball, but I went to A ball a couple times. But I spent most of my time at the lower level with those kids. When we had the draft one year, they all, you know, went to the hat shop and bought themselves one of them official Reds hats and, you know, sporting around the town and stuff like that. But it was just really cool to see them chase, see them, you know, they all want to get to the big leagues, you know, and usually one or two a team make it, but you love to see all the, you know, the energy they got to doing it. You know, they practice too much. You know, you try to get them to back off, you know, because they want to keep throwing and throwing and throwing and throwing. I said, no, you got to give your arm a break now. You got to take a break. You got to give it a chance to recover. You've been beating it up every day. Just give it a break, you know, just get some time off. But, I mean, just to see them. You know, I had Amir Garrett. I had him in rookie ball. Raw as they come. Raw. Unbelievable stuff. In fact, I was there when Walt Jocketty and whoever was there from the front office talked him into giving up basketball and staying strictly with baseball, you know. And I didn't know because he was so raw. But, man, he worked his way up here to get to the big leagues, and now he's a pretty confident guy, at least by his Facebook stuff anyway, his Twitter or whatever he's on, AG somebody. So, but I had Tyler Mahle, I had TJ Antone, I had them in Dayton. I knew they were going to be big leaguers, just, you know, the way they went about their business and their success as well. So, but it's neat to see those guys, you know, get to I remember Tucker Barnhart. Tucker Barnhart was he won the Gold Glove in the minor leagues. He was in AAA. He was kind of a backup to a guy waiting to get to the big leagues, and then somebody got hurt, and he made the club. You know, and Tucker and I were pretty tight because we talked a lot about pitching and stuff. So I went up to him. I said, "Hey, man, congratulations." He goes, "I heard it's awesome." And I said, "No." I said, "It starts at awesome, and it gets better from there." I said, "Make sure you understand that." So, and I heard him talk last year at a banquet or 2 years ago on the Caravan. That's what he said. It starts at awesome. I said, "That's awesome." So, But it's just, I consider it giving back, trying to, help these guys chase their dream. I wasn't a pitching coach that had all the answers, although my first year I coached, I was going to get every pitcher on that Billings Mustangs team to the big leagues. And then what ended up happening is they taught me how to be a coach, so I kind of learned to handle them all individually and get them all thinking on their terms. And, and they like to hear the stories, and I got stories. Man, I got a lot of stories. So, and they enjoy those, I had one kid, Clayton Shunick, North Carolina State, 5th round draft pick, and we were playing in Orem, Utah, Mormon capital of the world. They had these fans that are just rude as hell. But anyway, this is the only stadium or the only ballpark where the clubhouse is connected to the dugout. Everywhere else you got to walk down the line or it's disconnected, whatever. But this one was the only one that's connected. Well, Clayton goes out there and he gives up 9 runs in the first inning, doesn't get out of the inning. So we end up taking him out of the game, and he goes back into the clubhouse. And I think about the 3rd inning, the 4th inning, I finally walk in there, and he's sitting in his locker, still got his head in his hands. And I said, Clayton, I said, I never gave up 9 runs in an inning like that before. I said, but I gave up 10. And he looked up. I said, yeah, it happens. I said, your job is to pout today, and then tomorrow you come to the ballpark, get yourself ready to pitch your next game. I said, those things are lessons more than anything else. That, you didn't pitch well, you didn't get some breaks, it's just things like that happen. That'll make you a man quicker than anything. So just deal with it and live with it, and you got some work to get that ERA down now. So, but I tried to be light-hearted with them. I tried to let them know it's their career. Give yourself every opportunity. I had my time in the sun, and I can tell you it was awesome. I said, but you got to figure out what you're all about, what you need to do to be successful, and you need to stay there. I said, and then you make adjustments on the way. I said, but put your head down and move forward and take everything as it is. I said, you pitch good, great. Pitch bad, not so great, but deal with it. You just got to figure it out. Those are your teaching moments. Those are where you get your lessons from. I mean, we don't learn anything by winning. We always learn stuff because we suck. So, but we're all going to suck. So we all have those days. So just, give yourself every opportunity. I said, because one thing I will say this, if we treat our friends the way we treat ourselves, we would have no friends. Because we are so hard on ourselves. We expect so much. We want to be better than we're supposed to be. Or we want to be better than we should have been. Or whatever else. But we have a tendency to be very hard on ourselves. And I'm married and I got 5 kids. And my wife would tell me, you weren't very good today. Boy, you stunk today. But she was my best supporter too. So, but I got into coaching, I think, for about 10, 11 years. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, we took custody of 6 grandkids. So now we're raising kids again. I have a 2-year-old that can't believe he's not here. He's usually next to me right here. But so I'm raising kids all over again. And I was terrible the first time. I think I'm even worse the second time. So, but they're wonderful. I got 3 boys and 2 girls. And the oldest is 18. The youngest is 2. I got 2 teenage boys in there too, a 16-year-old, a 13-year-old, and then I got 10 and 6. Man, I wish I could play. No, it is what it is, and I'm okay with it. There's sure I could be traveling and doing whatever, being being a real grandparent, but they need me here and they need me to do those things, and I'm okay with that. And I still love baseball. I still want to get back into it in some capacity when the time comes. I may be too old by then, but I will say this. I am a diehard Reds fan. I will pull for them. Joe Nuxall was probably one of my dearest friends and certainly was my mentor. And it didn't matter what kind of team we had. He was always expecting us to win the World Series. So I expect us to go out there. We got a taste of the playoffs for the first time in a long time. Albeit a 60-game schedule kind of thing, but they got a taste of it, of extra baseball, whatever you want, playoff baseball. So, and I think, we've got an ample amount of starters. We probably got 7 guys, maybe 8 vying for those 5 spots. Our bullpen, we've certainly, the thing that I like is that we're a year older, or a year of experience older. We now know, or at least I'm hoping that we understand what it takes. I don't think the Reds were in that boat by themselves last year with the way they struggled offensively. I think a lot of teams struggled. Excuse me. I think that Yelich, whatever, how you pronounce that guy from Milwaukee, had a really bad year after having 2 incredibly great years. So I do expect us to do well this year. I think these guys do. I think the thing to watch for down the stretch of spring training is the guys that we're going to be leaning on to do the work for us. I'm praying that Nick Senzel stays healthy. This guy's a good player, but he's always on the shelf, so it's kind of hard to rely on a guy you can't keep off the shelf. So, but if he stays healthy, and certainly, like I said, with the guys that we've got coming back, and Moustakas, the veterans that struggled last year, Castellano, I mean, they're gonna rise up. So I'm looking forward to this season. This will be the first time I hadn't been to spring training in a long time, but that's because of COVID. So I do look forward to a great year. I hopefully by sometime early summer we can get a full capacity crowd in there and get back to the way it's supposed to be, because we feed off the fans. Whether they're it used to be they're paying your salary, but now Fox is paying your salary. So, but the fans we can't play without fans. And I saw a couple interviews of guys talking about playing without fans, and they said it was really weird. They can pipe that stuff in, whatever. But when you see people standing up and cheering and all those kind of things, I mean, there's something about it. And then you get that unison of roar that just kind of sends energy right through you. So I'm hoping we can get back to that sometime early this summer. And I do hope that we have a chance to win a World Series, or at least go to the playoffs and see what we can do from there. So I like our starters. I like our bullpen. I'm okay with a bullpen by committee. Somebody always wants to step up. I know Amir said he's the guy, so okay, be the guy. But just make sure, you get it done. So, and I love Amir. Believe me. I spent a lot of time with Amir. But sometimes, he's a little too, what do you call that, media happy guy. He likes to put stuff on there all the time. So I just read all the things. I don't ever comment. Heck, I'm too stupid to comment. So, but I like what we got here. I do think I like David. I've always liked David. I actually played with his dad. So, and I actually coached with David in AA, and I know what he's all about. But I'll leave it at this. You want to be a good pitching coach, you need good pitchers. You want to be a good coach, you need good players. So I think we have all that. It's just a matter, like I said, of us doing all the right things and staying healthy. So congratulations to you Hall of Famers. I think that's cool. Is Dino, is that Dino guy? Is he here? You never lost a game? That's pretty impressive. 4 years. That's incredible. Well, congratulations on tonight, by the way. So, and all the other ones that are receiving it, I appreciate you having me here to be a part of it. The food was awesome. So was the apple pie. So, but thank you. If you guys got any questions, do we have time for questions, or are we trying to hurry up? And okay, has anybody got any questions about anything, or that? I have opinions. I don't really voice them very often, but yes. Well, it's a career highlight for sure. That was that happened because I couldn't get in the scoreboard. A buddy of mine from the Pirates, they had just come back from Chicago and they stopped in to play us, and he said, "Hey man, when you get to Wrigley, go see Terry, the ground crew guy. He'll get you in the scoreboard. You got to see the scoreboard. It's pretty awesome." So I said, "Okay." So and I wasn't thinking too much of it, and then. Get to Chicago, go out there for batting practice, go down the right field line, see Terry there. And before I could even get to him, he's already shaking his head. He said, "You want to get in the scoreboard, don't you?" And I said, "I do." He said, "Well, I can't." I said, "I caught hell from the front office for doing it for the guy from the Pirates, so I said, okay. So we went out there for batting practice, and I was out there with Timmy Belcher, and we're just standing around. And I said, you know, what about one of them buildings? I could sneak over to one of them buildings. That'd be kind of cool. As a starting pitcher, you have 4 days out of 5 days off, so you kind of do some stupid stuff, and you know. So anyway, we get done with batting practice, and we go in the clubhouse, and I asked the clubhouse manager if he knows anybody that owns any of them buildings, and his name is George Lucas. He said he owns them all. I said, do you have his phone number? He goes, yeah. So he got him on the phone for me. I said, George, I'm with the Reds. You know, my name's Tom Brown. I'm with the Reds. I'm hoping maybe I could sneak over and sit on one of your rooftops for maybe half an inning. He said, oh, that would be so cool. He said, why don't you meet me out in front of Murphy's Pub in the top of the 3rd inning? I said, okay. I said, I'll have a black sweatsuit on and my red turf shoes on, my Reds hat. So I did that. I met the security guy to get out of Wrigley, and back then it was a little bit more lax, so you could really sneak out of there and get back in there. But I did okay with a security guy. So I met George. We went down 3 or 4 buildings, walked up 3 or 4 flights of stairs, well, I guess 3 flights of stairs. Back then they were apartments. Now it's a restaurant on the 2nd floor. I mean, it's really cool. But anyway, I walked up to the 3rd floor, took my sweatsuit off, and there's a railing there with a landing right below me. It was a landing probably 2 feet, 3 feet below me. So I wasn't on the edge of the building. If I fell, I would fall 3 stories to my death. I would jump down and land. But anyway, I got up there and I took my hat off. I started waving my boys in the bullpen. They saw me. They started waving back. And a lady said, are you really a ball player? And I said, yeah. She goes, what are you doing over here? I said, I just want to see what it's like to watch a ball game from over here. She said, so that's so cool. Do you want a beer and a brats? And I said, no. I said, I'm already in trouble. So. And while I was there, Kevin Mitchell hit a 3-run homer, and we took the lead 4-3, and I think we won the game 4-3. So, but by the top of the 4th inning, I was back in the dugout. I actually saw Harry Wendelstadt, who was the first base umpire at the time. My neighbor, Randy Marsh, was umpiring behind home plate, so Harry was down there talking, and as he was walking, we were getting ready to start the 4th inning, I said, hey, Harry, what'd you think of that? And he just went, shh, just be quiet about it. So. But anyway, I got called to the principal's office after the game, and I got fined $500, and that was about it. So, but it was certainly a career highlight. I've sold so many of those pictures. I paid for that fine. So, but it was, you know, like I said, when you got 4 days off, we go play. That was the year the Marlins first came into the league too, and that's when we go in to play the Marlins, and we were there probably 2 weeks after that. Wayne Huizinga, the owner of the Marlins, actually sent his personal secretary down to our clubhouse. He wanted me to sit in his restaurant sometime during the game, and I said no. Jim Bowden was the general manager there, old leather pants, so he didn't like me, and I wasn't real fond of him. So, but that's how it came about, and you know, turned out better than. So anyway, anything else? Well, I appreciate you having me here. You know, I just, you know, my wife said, "What are you going to talk about?" I said, "I don't know. I'll just." Let it fly, whatever it is. So, but congratulations to all you Hall of Fame inductees. That's kind of a special night. So I'm just glad that you allowed me to be a part of it. Thank you all.
One more time for Tom Browning. Thank you. This time, I'd like to introduce the voice of the Wildcats. We all know who that is before I even say his name, and he will start the ceremony of having the inductees come up. So, Guy Bainham, you want to head up this way? Maybe?
We've got like about 5 to 7 minutes before the silent auction will be completely over. So if you still want to go up and buy something now, or you want to put your ticket in, it'd be a great opportunity to do that. So we do have a few minutes before we start an introduction. But with that said, I do have a couple things I would like to announce before we introduce our inductees for tonight. First of all, I want to thank Rick Yeary once again. People don't understand what Rick and I and Mike Pope went through this year to get this basketball season in. I mean, we would literally call day to day on whether we could play the game, if it was going to get moved. This game was moved, and I was lucky to announce all the girls and boys games. And our girls had a phenomenal year this year. and I'm very proud of them, but it was a lot of work. So Rick, he was really on pins and needles most of the time, our athletic director, and so without him, I don't think this season would have gone as well as it had. On that note, a lot of people don't know, but I think it was last February, Mike Pope, who runs our clock, he does our clock here for basketball, for the girls and the boys, and also football. Mike was inducted to the Ohio volunteer, where you have volunteered, I think it's for 35 years. You have to be at least served for 35 years of volunteering, which he had done here at Williamsburg. And I just want to acknowledge that. Mike spends a lot of time up here with me at the games. We spend a lot of time at the press box. I hear all his corny jokes. I've heard them 3 or 4 times, actually, but he don't remember, and I don't remember, so they're still funny, so we laugh. But I did want to acknowledge that about Mike. Mike has done so many things also for our school that I always like to recognize him. This year, he grew his hair out long because he was supposed to be Santa Claus at the Christmas walk. Well, they had to cancel it, unfortunately, because of the COVID. And so we were at a game here one evening, and this little girl, probably not maybe 3 or 4 years old, came down and said, "Are you Santa Claus?" And he goes, "Yes, I am." He said, "Would you?" And he sat on and talked to her, and she was like thrilled to death. And I thought, that was Mike. He's a class act. And the other thing I just learned just recently, one of our I guess I can't think of the right word, one of our players that's already inducted into our Hall of Fame, Mr. Rowan, who's sitting out here tonight. Herb was one of our first inductees, actually, when we started doing this. He was and 3 years ago, he was inducted to the Ohio Hall of Fame from Miami University. Herb played at Miami University, and so he was inducted into the Ohio, and I didn't know that, so I'm glad his lovely wife brought that to my attention, because that's a big recognition to get not only inducted to our Hall of Fame and the Claremont County Hall of Fame, but also to be inducted to the Ohio for basketball. So Herb, great job. That's wonderful. I asked Herb one time, I said, did you ever play against Kentucky? Because I'm a big Wildcat fan and have been most of my life. And Herb said, yeah. He says, I was so black and blue after that game was over. He said, I thought we was in a fighting match. So I was really intrigued at that point. So where's Michelle at? Where's she at? Have we got more time to do the silent? Or how are we doing on time? I don't want to cut them off. We appreciate everybody doing this evening, by the way, so. Okay. Yeah, I will say one more thing about our sports here at Williamsburg. Our girls, the senior class of our girls, and some of them are here tonight, if they win softball, which they probably should, I don't want to jinx them, but if they win tonight, this group of girls have won all 4 of our major sports here in the girls' sports all through their high school career. That would be soccer, volleyball, basketball, and softball. And that is just a feat that's just, even in our district, I know our schools, our district's not as big as some of the other, but that's a lot, quite an accomplishment for these girls to achieve, so hats off to them as well. Michelle, are you about done, or? Okay, we can go. Okay, last couple more. So if you want to do something else? Yes, and there's still more desserts and drinks, so don't forget to do that. All right, well, most of the inductees tonight, I got to see perform here, except for one, and so I'm going to start off with him. Mr. Robert Cockrell, 3 years of varsity football, and because when he was a freshman, football didn't exist here at Williamsburg just yet. And I believe they played at the, did you play up on the top of the hill, up by Hill, or where Tip's restaurant used to be? Is that correct? Or you played at the football field? I'm trying to think. I remember someone sharing that story with me. But he played 3 years of varsity football. He was a member of our first league championship team here at Williamsburg in football. Also in basketball, he played 4 years of basketball. And in baseball, he also played 2 years of baseball here at Williamsburg as well. He was in the United States Army. He was dishonorably discharged in 1959. He was an Alaskan State Patrolman from 1963 till 1987 as a lieutenant. Lieutenant with Alaska State Troopers. As security for the past 8 years, 8 governors, excuse me, yeah. He was also security for the past 8 governors of Alaska. He worked for the state of Alaska for over 50 years. Ladies and gentlemen, from the class of 1957, our first inductee tonight, Robert Cockrell. Congratulations. The mic is yours. If you care to say a few words. Okay.
Yes, first of all, I would like to thank my Savior at my age. I can walk up here. I'd like to thank my wife, 62 years, our son David, and my extended family here in Ohio. I've spent the last 57 years of my life working for the state of Alaska, 20 years in uniform with the Alaska State Troopers, which I think is one of the finest police organizations in the United States. The last 37 years, I've been with the governor's office in charge of security. I'm working now with my 9th governor. And I say this in a nice way. I've heard more speeches, more promises, more press releases or press conferences than anybody should ever have to listen to. And I find the people that I work for, the governors, are all fine people. I've worked for Republicans, Democrats, Independents, 8 men and 1 woman, Sarah Palin. I've had the opportunity to travel all over the state of Alaska. My career has been one that is really hard to explain in a way. I retired from the Alaska State Troopers in 1987. I kept the same job and moved over into the governor's office. And basically what they did is I was now paid out of the governor's office rather than the troopers. I think that, and I serve at the discretion of the governor. So if the governor says tomorrow, I don't want you, you're out of here. You have no recourse. I think one of the reasons that I've been able to hold on goes back to Williamsburg School. I think the teachers we had were outstanding. Our coaches, Coach Smith, Coach Liming, were fantastic people. They were role models that you had to live up to and you had to work hard with. I also had the opportunity to play with fantastic ball players. You got Bill Stewart, Tina Malott, Bobby Miller, Herb Rowan, fantastic people. I won't try and name everybody because I'll miss somebody. But I do believe this has helped me in my career of being able to do my job and to do it honestly and to the best of my ability. I've just had a fantastic career. I never get tired of it. I just got old. But anyway, thank you very much for the selection committee. I appreciate everything you've done for me. I'm amazed that you selected me, and I'm just very humble. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cockrell, and great words. And you're right, Williamsburg was a great place to grow up. All right, the next inductee tonight, well, I can say a couple things about him because I used to hang around up his house. And there were so many kids, his mom it really mattered how many people were there because she would just feed you. And that's the way it is. But I got to tell you, young ladies who are in the audience tonight, when this guy went to school, anybody that would have been Italian, and his name is Dino, he was pretty cool. You know, Dino just had it. He had it, you know. So, and we were all a little jealous of him, I think, too. He was first team, he played football, and he was first team All-League in 1973. He was first team All-District in 1973. He was first team punter and defensive All-Southwest District in 1973. And he was first team All-State in 1973. And like he said earlier, in his 4-year high school career, he never lost a football game here at Williamsburg. Ladies and gentlemen, from the class of 1974, Dino Pangallo.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody. It's a great honor. And the best thing out of all this is that my family and my friends are here to see me do this. Thank you.
He had a great set of parents, too, because his mom would prounce up and down them sidelines and, "Don't you hurt my boys," and they were hitting harder than the other team. So it was always kind of a treat to watch Mrs. Pangallo as she ventured around the sidelines, and I had that joy. Our next inductee, I also had the joy of watching grow up as well and play here at Williamsburg, Courtney Wagers. She was first team in volleyball, All-League in 2011. She was Player of the Year in 2011. She was second team All-League in 2010. In basketball, she was a member of our basketball team from 2011 to 2012, which she also excelled at. In softball, she was a member of our softball team from 2009 to 2010. She was first team All-SBAAC in 2012. She was second team in 2011, and she was second team in 2010. She coaching 8th grade girls volleyball for 2 years. And so, ladies and gentlemen, from the class of 2012, Courtney Wagers.
My speech will not be as good as the other two. You've done very well. But I just want to say thank you to everyone here. Thank you for the nominations. Williamsburg has a special place in my heart, and I know it does with everyone in this room. It's an honor to be a part of this great group and this small community. Thank you.
Thank you, Courtney. And what a wonderful young lady she is as well. I can attest to that. Now, this next young man I'm going to introduce, also I got to watch play and wrestle here. He was a wrestler. And he went to school with some of my children, so that's how I knew Kyle Yeary. Kyle was first team All-League 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003. He was a 4-year district qualifier. He was league champion in middle school from 98 and 99. He had 118 career wins. He's the first 6-time SBAAC league champion from 1998 to 2003. He also ran track for 3 years and excelled at that as well. Ladies and gentlemen, from the class of 2003, Kyle Yeary.
I'd just like to say thanks to the selection committee and for Mr. Isaac probably getting me up here. My wife joked on the way over here asking what I would say during my speech. I didn't actually know I would be saying anything at all, but she said say thanks to her, and that's it. Thank you.
Kyle, I think, was the only one I didn't get to speak to before to tell him you might be saying a couple things. So, all right. Our next inductee, Kyle Donthnier. And Kyle, his last name was always tricky for a lot of people around our community, and not in our community, but around our league, but we finally got him straightened out. Kyle's accomplishments: 1 year of varsity basketball, but he really excelled in track and field. He was third in the state in long jump, and he set a school record at that time. He was 8th in the state in the 4x100 relay. He has a record for SBC both divisions 4x100 relay. He was first team All-League in 2011. He was SBC district team champion. He was first SBC in the 4x100, the 4x200, and the long jump. He was incredible. His college career, he also went on to the University of Cincinnati, where he did the triple and long jump for 4 years at the University of Cincinnati's track team. Ladies and gentlemen, from the class of 2011, Kyle Donthnier. Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, good evening, everybody. Even though I went to Williamsburg for 1 short year, my roots run very deep here. The short year that I was here, I met Coach Rolfe, who kind of took me under his wing and kind of showed me the community that all the people kind of bring into Williamsburg. And I was able to take that into my collegiate career and now into building my own family. So just wanted to say thank you to Coach Rolfe for the nomination specifically, everybody for coming tonight. and for the community that you guys provide for such things just like this. So, thank you.
Thank you, Kyle, but it was incredible. He was an incredible athlete. I always wanted to be built like him, but he was a phenomenal. But one good thing, one blessing about he brought 2 sisters along, which I got to enjoy the pleasure of also announcing them as well. Our last inductee is one that I think most of us here know, and I'm going to get him right up here right away. Mr. Byron Jody, Coach. Now, don't forget to tell him about the country Wildcats.
Good evening. First of all, I'd like to thank the committee, the Hall of Fame committee. I'd like to congratulate the other new members. I'd like to thank my family for all their support down through the years. Especially like to thank Mrs. Jody for taking care of 2 little boys so I could coach. However, I would never have been a coach if it had not been for Coach Ken Osborne. I came here 54 years ago as a first art teacher. Coach saw something in me, and he said, "Byron, I want you to coach junior high football." And I said, "Coach, I don't know anything about football." And he said, "I'll teach you what you need to know if you'll do it." And I did it. And I moved up, and I wound up coaching 4 sports. I coached football on 3 different levels: junior high, freshman, and junior varsity. I coached basketball on 3 all levels. I actually had a 5th and 6th grade team. I had a junior high team. I had a JV team, and then I had a girls varsity team. And then last but not least, I had tennis and golf. In the mid-'80s, when they asked me to coach the girls team, in my 2nd season as the girls head coach, we won 15 and lost 5. And that was the first winning season for the girls basketball. And I got a Coach of the Year trophy for coming in 2nd place. Later on, I had heart surgery, and I was out of coaching for a while. And then in the early 90s, I was given the tennis job. I coached it for 5 years. And in those 5 years, we were league champions twice, runner-up once, league tournament champion 3 times. And what Tom said a while ago about being a good coach, you have to have good players. My son Nick was on that. He was a varsity tennis player for all 4 years. He was all league, 2nd team as a freshman, all league, 1st team as a sophomore, a junior, and a senior. He had a 55-5 record in matches, and he lost 3 as a freshman, 2 as a sophomore, and none as a junior and senior. He was instrumental in those league titles. He was also all city and all district, and advanced to the final 16 in Ohio. So like Tom said, it does take good players to be a good coach. And I had good players, and he was one of them. And last but not least, I wanted to say this. 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, I was talking to Coach Osborne, and I said, "Coach, I don't know if I ever thanked you or not for making me a part of something very special, Williamsburg football." And he said, "It was special because of guys like you." And I want to thank the committee again, and thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Byron, and congratulations once again to all the inductees tonight. Like I said, it's a joy for me to not only get to announce these young people when they come through Williamsburg, but to sit up here again tonight and to enjoy and watch their get to see the little glory that the things they've achieved in life. And it's nice to see how they've done outside of Williamsburg as well, and that we should be very proud of that fact. So once again, let's give all the inductees, if you would, a round of applause, please. All right, are we about ready to, all right.
Charlie, I hope I don't mess you up. I'm going to kill your mic. We are going to announce the winners. Oh, it came off? I mean, I didn't need this. I'm not supposed to have this in school, am I? We are going to announce the winners of the baskets for all of the ones that in the bid sheets as well. So if you will, get your tickets out, please. This is the exciting time, right? The artwork is number 50. So if you are number 50, that's you. That will be coming back. The Butterbees card, $100 value, is number 55. Is that right? The Croswell Anniversary Tour, number 55. That's you. Number 53 on the Taste of Cincinnati. Number 54, and Brandon Lindsay, I don't know what your number is, 51, on the baseballs for Tom Browning. The fishing equipment, number 49. Okay, ticket number, I'm just going to read ticket numbers, so this is where most of you are at. And if I go too fast, they're taped to the individual prizes, so once we finish, you can just come back and check the tickets. Okay, ticket 891913. Ticket number 787247. Ticket number 155181. Ticket number 155194. Ticket number 155827. Ticket 155064. Ticket number, get it upside down here, 787381. 787381. Ticket 155109. Ticket number 787628. Ticket 787632. Ticket number 787333. Ticket 787638. Ticket number 156041. Ticket number 787456. Ticket number 155234. Ticket number 787342. Ticket number 787341. Ticket number 156243. Number 787566. Ticket number 787321. Ticket number 787371. Ticket number 787222. Ticket number 787166. 787112. Ticket 787184. Tickets number 787191. Tickets number 155923. Ticket number 787357. Ticket number 155916. Ticket number 787202. Number 787204. Ticket number 155100. Ticket number 787057. As I said, all these are back here, so if I went too fast, everyone, I got 100 tickets, I have no idea. Just come back and start checking again.
We would like to, this time, before all the inductees take off, if you would come, we'd like them to stand and show them. Just up front by the sports award, we'd like you to get pictures for the ones that just have been inducted there. If you wouldn't want this to go front, and with the sports award, thank you.
The last thing I'd like to say before everybody leaves is again, the boosters, thank you for all of your hard work. All these funds go right back into some athletic program, I promise you. Thank you very much for coming. Please drive safe. Have a very blessed evening.